Hey everybody, JJ here, backing in with the Saturday Zoom networking. I'm really excited about today's call. We got a tag team on here, Batman and Superman together. Um, just two really great guys. It's a father-son team, John and Justin Pickell. Um, I won't say out of Michigan, but they work all over the freaking country. Met these two great guys out of Pace Morby Sub 2 community. And as everyone's heard me talk about before, Pace is a premier genius in the country of creative finance, which means the world. And Pace's Sub 2 community is by far one of the best, if not the best, real estate education platform out there today. I happened to be at the Squad Up Summit in Orlando a few weeks ago, and Pace had a few people up on stage just recognizing, acknowledging people that have done very well in real estate investment. And all of a sudden, he's got three guys up on stage that are three of the premier leaders in the country in the industry. One of them is this really good-looking guy named John Pickell. And I thought I need to hear more about this guy. Hey, John, how you doing? Justin, how you doing?
We're doing phenomenal, JJ. Thanks for having us on. And it was a phenomenal meeting you at the Squad Up Summit, and looking forward to sharing what we have together today and seeing where
Well,
we can give
I'll
value.
tell you, young man, your dad was recognized, but I could see, that you're an intricate part of this team. You're more than 50%. And you're only 19, right?
20
Oh,
now.
20. Okay, we're into a whole new decade now.
Yep.
We're into a whole new
Yep.
decade. But you're smart, you're sharp, you're dynamic, you're personable, and you know what you're doing. And you've got a phenomenal father that's leading you and mentoring you and protecting you and guiding you and making sure you can avoid all the pitfalls
100%.
and do the best to jump over those hurdles and challenges as they come. So, John, kudos to you, my friend.
Thank you,
Yeah.
brother. You really hit
Um,
it on the nose, actually, because he's seen
hey,
a lot of pitfalls along the way.
yeah, there's a couple of them. Hey, real
Yeah.
quick, John, again, you want to maybe be a little more specific for folks? Where in the country are you and Justin located?
We're in Michigan, Metro
Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
And yep. And all my business was in Michigan
Mhm.
until Justin got out of high school a few years ago and he turned nationwide into the regular. So he was the true visionary of our actual wholesale company that got us on Pace's podcast, which was our only other podcast we've been on, which was last month. And now we're on
You.
Man JJ Azizian's podcast.
There you
So
go,
thank
brother.
you.
Hey, we know Justin has started now coming out of high school with yourself. We're familiar with his start, but you've got a family dynasty growing here. Um, how did you start? I mean, when you're 16, you're driving. When you're 18, you're voting. When you're 21, you can buy an alcoholic beverage. Justin's still a year away from that. Um, but
Mhm.
what were you doing from your teens into your 20s? Was real estate on the horizon for you, John, or was it nowhere in sight? Or what were you doing that got you either got you here or before you got going? What were you doing through those developmental years, John?
Yeah, we'll make a long story short. I went to community college for a little bit, never got a credit, had no interest in school, always hated school in high school. Was a straight A student through elementary and middle for the most part, but just was sidetracked in high school and never really had a dream or plan to get in that. I got into selling home improvement at 19. I did that from 19 to 25. I sold HVAC, I sold roofs, siding, kitchen cabinets, made a good six figures a year plus, was spending it all, hanging out with the girls at the club you're talking about earlier. But overall, got through it all. Thank God to be alive. I had a drop top vet when I was 19. I leased that. It was a 50th anniversary silver with a black top. And when I was 25, my sales started slowing down, and I had read a line in the Bible that in all labor there's profit. And I started working at a moving company, making 150, 200 bucks a day. Did that for a few years, and then he was on the way. He was born in January '04, and I knew that wasn't going to cut it anymore. And I got into the mortgage business and became a number one loan officer for about a year.
Good for you.
Sure. Yep.
So
And
you're
then
used to working hard. I mean, you're used to working hard, long days, long hours.
Yep, yep. From inside sales to in-house sales.
Now,
So
how did you guys find out about Pace? And we've met through Sub 2. We're both we met through this to the
Startup
summit.
Summit. Yep.
Squad Up Summit,
Yeah.
but I found out since then you're both in Sub 2, which I'm as well. How did you guys find out about Pace? What was that? I think Justin had a little bit to do with that, right?
Yeah,
Every
so at first my dad handed me like a list of like probate or some kind of list that I started calling with another friend of mine in the office. And I didn't really know what wholesaling was. I think he just wanted us to find houses for him to flip himself. And I just didn't fully understand at that time. I did it for like 2 weeks and it was just too hard. And I started searching up different things on real estate, and Jerry Norton popped up and watched a few videos of him, and then Pace Morby popped up and learned about the creative finance strategies, but it was just listening to tons of seller calls really, and that helped me get through the phone calls and get through each day making those cold calls to like absentee owners, pre-foreclosures, different things like that for 3, 4 months till I got my first deal.
And when you found out about Pace, well, let's go back to the 3, 4 months of your first deal. So when you started making these calls, you found out about Jerry Norton and you got into doing these things. Do you then got your first deal 3 or 4 months down the line?
Yep.
Pretty good.
I wanted to join right away for Pace Morby and for the community, but he wanted me to pretty much begin to get my first deal, make some money, and then we began to split it 50-50 and paid it monthly after those 4 months. But the first deal I closed pretty much came from one of my first leads, but it needed 3 months of follow-up. She like said she had to pray on it, she had to think about it. Like she was attached to all the stuff in the house. She was a hoarder, different things like that. And at a certain point, she was just ready. But I had
So
7
let
deals.
me ask you on that particular situation, did you find that you were building rapport, getting to know them better, getting to
Oh yeah,
know you better, developing that comfort?
for
Now, is
sure.
that something that came natural to you, Justin, or is it something you found that you needed to develop even at a young age?
Like it kind of came natural to me, and I just knew that she enjoyed talking to people. Like if they don't hang up on me, I'm just gonna keep on going after the deal pretty much. So she said she was thinking about it, so I was just persistent following up. I
Good.
think she also partially just wanted to have a friend to talk to, partially since she was like 85 and just lived alone and that kind of thing.
Well,
So
and you've obviously got a great personality. You're very comfortable speaking. I've seen you and your dad working in tandem at live events. It's like, boy, the mic goes back and forth without a drop. You know, you guys are an excellent complement for one another. What really amazed me was when you guys were on stage standing next to him, or I believe it's you, John, standing on stage next to Abraham Gray, and I think there was John Galan there, somebody, or three of you guys up there, and hearing that you have amassed a very large number of transactions behind you as a team, because obviously it's not one person in the Pickell family. You guys working as a team.
Yeah, well, that
Um,
was more so a career thing, taking care of your family for 20 years in sales.
yeah,
1,000 plus, it's probably like more like 2,000, but tons of refinance loans, private loans, wholesale, real estate, the combination. Justin's at like 100, so he was on stage for just under 100, and then he stepped down and
Only
basically,
100, Justin, at 20?
yeah, step it up, bro.
That means like by the time he's at 22, it'll be 200. 24, it'll be 300.
Yeah,
yeah,
at least.
for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, your topic today is wholesaling, and I've heard these acronyms all the time of DTA, DTS, DTW. Can you explain from a wholesaling standpoint what these three things are? Maybe you guys can alternate explaining one and then the other. Or, Justin, you want to start? Maybe what's DTA?
Yeah. So direct to DTA is direct to agent. So that's pretty much just constantly reaching out to realtors about their current listings or some of their just reaching out to a realtor to become one of their friends, and they might bring you some of their off-market deals in the future. But if you're going directly to their listing that's already up, there's different ways you can filter for leads.
Well, now let me ask you. We have new and experienced investors on this call, and on YouTube, weeks and months down the line, we'll have new and experienced investors, but also new investors. How does a new investor get into direct agent? Do they
Yeah.
go to the website? Do they find property? What?
There's different ways to get started with direct to agent, I'd say for sure. Um, like some of the ways I'm currently using it in my business is using batch leads and pretty much pulling like free and clear properties of single family, multifamily, as well as like low equities with a mortgage on it and people losing money on their property and just scrolling through it to see if like the loan balance and the MLS price are actually accurate and seeing if they're losing money. So
Wow.
those are one of the two ways, and then also can just go on Zillow and there's different keywords that you can put on there like cash offer, ARV, rental income, different things that realtors can use. You can come up with creative things on your own and just think about how an investor and realtor think.
So there's a whole, I know more than we can cover in an hour, but there's a whole different bunch of strategies that one can pick up for DTA, which is direct to agent.
Yeah.
John, what's DTS, John?
Direct to seller. And this is my specialty overall. So it's kind of cool the way you did. He could do first and third. Those are more his specialties. Direct to seller. One of the ways he mentioned that he started, and part of the reason why I gave him that super tough list from a company called All the Leads, who specializes in probate leads. Their skip tracing hopefully is better now, but it was never the greatest. But I figured if you're 17, not even 18, even if you called all month and got one or two people, that's a potential 5, 10, 20,000 for someone that age. So I purposely wanted it to be hard, but he went online and found some easier ways. But sticking to direct to seller, overall, the old school, old fashioned way, wholesaling aspect, which I got into in 2019. And that was my first time doing over 6 figures wholesaling and getting serious about the wholesale business while he was in high school. And that's on the side from my realtor stuff and, loan officer and branch manager stuff, which I did for 11 years until I was too busy in real estate. But anyways, direct to seller, the old school original way is absentee owners. So you got tired landlords, investors that,
That's what I called to get the first two deals as well.
yep. And that's when he figured that out. And he got that, I think, from Jerry Norton and got on that. So that's the old school way, cold calling, absentee owners. And then finally in 2021, that's when I got into pay per click and pay per lead, where I finally stopped cold calling after 17 years or longer. If you really look at some of the other cold calling I've done, and I still actually, I don't do it right now, but I'm not against it. I still call leads and close leads, and I'm getting closer to not doing that. But the reality is paper leads are much more expensive, but you're getting somebody with a serious need. There's a lot of great companies out there. There's Lead Zolo, Leads That Need to Sell My House Fast,
Hey,
and plenty
John,
more.
what's considered a paper lead? You meant the comment pay. What's a paper lead?
Paper lead is where somebody filled something out online and a company's charging you anywhere from 100 to 200 or more. And I'd be happy to drop my referral link for this company at Leads That Need to Sell My House Fast, where somebody can sign up. And if they have any questions on the strategy, I in 2021 and 22 grossed between 5 and 600 doing wholesale, realtor listings, and flips. And that was still while Justin was in high school, and he had no part of that. But he got involved, and now we're, tripling that, and the goal is to 10 times that and quantum leap with great people around us like these guys right here. Check out David Moody, Ben Gracie. These guys are killers. So you got great people around you. You can really and a great guy like you. And thank you again for having us on this podcast. And just growing together and helping as many people as possible. And that's what it comes down
But
to.
you guys have obviously been killing it, but more importantly is I think you've shown the community really, I think what's really cool is that you're working as a father-son team. And to me that's huge. My dad really wasn't in my life. He was a financial provider, but we didn't do anything together. I envy you guys. I envy you, John, of being able to do this now as you're taking your son into his adulthood, and he'll be a father and a husband, and you'll be a grandfather sitting back and go, yeah, I groomed him. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be really cool. Hey, let's move to the third one is direct to wholesaler. Justin, what's that about? Are we talking about wholesaling? What is direct to wholesaler?
Direct to wholesaler is pretty much just as if I'm a wholesaler, sometimes I can't sell my deals, and there's other people who have access to buyers who can sell my deal. So I'm joint venturing with other wholesalers where I sell their deals, and I have plenty of connectors on my team who pretty much go outreach towards wholesalers who are needing help selling their deal because they only utilize Facebook to sell their deals and don't have a constant network of people to get that deal sold at the highest price. So what that is just going on Facebook, joining as many groups as possible that are related to wholesalers and investors, and being able to see anyone who just posts a deal for sale and just reaching out to them. If it's for sale, let's join venture. So simple as that. Just asking if you can join venture. You might have the buyer on your own. We charge 30% for dispo. And pretty much if you want to dispo these people's deals and don't have access to the buyers, you can charge them 50%, make that 20% fee. And we're helping out with finding the buyer anywhere in the country.
Wow.
That also becomes your affiliate for life. We got to point that out. So that's not, so once you bring a wholesaler once, we're open to paying 20% on that for life. And all you have to do is kind of take a peek at the deal, make sure it's a good deal when it comes in, stay involved in the relationship communication. And then we'll have our dispo managers dispo it, and we'll be a part of it. When we have bills in a business, it's like building a business within a business. Because if you have one wholesaler bringing you 3 deals a month, you're getting 20%. Even on a $10,000 assignment, that's $6,000 a month. If you have 5 or 10 of those, that's 30 to 60,000 a month.
Wow, that sounds great. I talk about networking on occasion, obviously. Um, how hard is this business for someone maybe who's not a people person or not comfortable on the phone, or how much do they need to adjust to make themselves comfortable speaking to others? Justin, were you always comfortable talking to people? Or were you just grow up watching dad
Like,
do it, so it became second nature?
like I was always comfortable speaking with people, but there's also different conversations that when you're unfamiliar with things, you just like partially get nervous or excited where you don't know what you're doing. And it's always just going to be a learning experience and adapting and growing and failing forward. But it's really, if someone has the mindset to be able to make a decision in advance and know if they're going to commit to this, it's already done in advance because it's inevitable once that outcome is going to reach. You just got to keep on failing till you succeed. That's really the key.
So, as new
Maybe
people,
and
go ahead.
maybe they're gonna fail and see there's another path in real estate where they don't have to talk to people though. But maybe they needed some money first.
And as you've just stated, there are many different paths in real estate. And I know when I started 6 years ago, my first education community told me there was only rehabbing, there was only wholesaling, and there was only buy and hold.
For
But
sure.
there's obviously there's so many more paths: private money lender, syndication, funding, um,
CC.
commercial, multifamily. It's just a matter of finding our individual path. Um, Justin, you're amazing. To see what you're doing at a young age, you're both role models actually from two different ends of the spectrum. But as people are new, and again, I'm picking on Justin because he's, John, I don't know about you. I did not grow up with a cell phone. I did not have a computer in college. I had typed all my papers on a typewriter. You know, I didn't even have I think I had a pager in my 30s.
Yeah, we had
Right.
the,
Cell phones didn't even exist back then. So,
yeah.
Justin, this technology is so much more a part of what we're doing today. For the new investor, are there certain websites that you suggest people look at? I think you mentioned Zillow. I think you mentioned Batch Leads or something. Are there
Yeah,
other certain websites that the beginning investor might want to have a look at?
for sure. Like the main website, like to get good data for like direct to seller is figuring out how to make a relationship with some different local counties or wherever you're looking to target, or like newspaper companies that are reselling the foreclosure, probate, divorces. So you're able to get a faster feedback loop of that data because batch leads or any other companies giving it to you 2 weeks later. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so that's pretty much one of the it's going to be a bunch of different websites, so you're going to have to do your own research. But if you can find the counties in your area, you can get way better data and call them every day.
Wow. No, that sounds great. I heard that before. Contact your local administrations, city, county, state.
Yeah.
John, I can see you've built this great friggin' business here, not only with your son, but you've got a staff of people. What was the biggest challenge for you, John, in not doing everything yourself, or maybe allowing someone to take over something that you've been doing before? What were some of the things that you had to deal with to get comfortable so that you could have things? What were some of your hurdles?
Justin has been pushing me through those hurdles actually, but specific on those hurdles is when you have a budget of 6 to 10,000 a month on a pay per lead basis, that's and trusting another person with a $200 lead or a $300 lead or $100 lead it was kind of hard for me. And it still is because I'm still calling some of them, but now I am spreading them around and basically it is going well. Sometimes I think they're dropping the ball, but also I'm not perfect either. But obviously I'm going to care more when I know it's my expense. So the letting other people close my expensive leads has been a major hurdle and stuff, man. So
Has it been difficult for you to find your staff? Did you have a lot of turnover? Was there trial and error to find the right people to fit into your team? Some of us have a team or we're building a team or we want to build a team. What are some of the things that some of the investors on the call might want to take into consideration when they're looking to bring people on? Is there a probationary period? Do they come on as an intern first? How do we pay our staff? What are some of the things that you look at as an owner when you're structuring your staff?
I'll let Justin answer that.
All right. So pretty much we just look at like how much money is going to be like comfortable to keep them continuously motivated and keep us motivated to train them, maintain them, and continuously grow with them over the long term. Is some of them are like for the direct to salary guy, for his expensive leads, they're on salary plus commission. And then like our direct agent and direct to wholesaler people, those are all commission only. And then we have our transaction coordinator. She's on salary plus some fee, like per deal. And that's pay some dispo commission only as well. That's pretty much the structure, but it's figuring out, it was all trial and error, testing out is this person making enough money this month for doing this amount of work?
Now, do you find that every week and every month's not the same as far as productivity and sales? Are you finding that your experience where you're at, even though you guys are national, does it fluctuate from spring to summer to fall? Is it pretty consistent straight across the line? Is it based upon the economy and interest rates? What are you finding to be some of the variables that play with your
That was one of the
continuity?
best things about me getting into wholesaling full throttle in 21. And there's no downtime. Well, as from the realtor position, all realtors are take off in December and January in these winter states. But when it comes to wholesaling, you're dealing with distressed sellers. It's probate, divorce, need to sell my house fast, cash.
It's
It
like
doesn't
never
matter what.
ending unlimited leads.
Yeah, it's just totally all year round and it's constant growth, literally. And we're expecting nothing but more constant growth because we have such a solid pipeline and so many connectors, and then also building the brand within the community. Now we just need to take the brand to the world level is what we're in process. It's already done, but it's just a matter of Justin's been stacking up his YouTube videos, and that way, once he starts going, he already has things set up for a good period of time. And then we're also working with different people who are going to be more of our social media managers, maybe a few people that work with Pace on the inside that do contract work. And we're evaluating that and getting closer. But I think Justin's going to be the superstar online. If he
Yeah,
plays.
I've got no doubt you've got a rock star right there. I think he's very well suited for the path in front of him. Um, Justin, outside of your dad, obviously your dad's been a huge influence. And outside of Pace Morby because he's created this machine called Sub 2. But outside of Pace and your dad, who else has been like instrumental as a role model or a mentor, someone that's helped you with direction and guidance, as whether it be personal or professional?
Yeah, mostly like been self-taught through YouTube videos and reading books is mainly my mentorship overall. But like some of like the great ones are really just mindset focused and improving how you think and getting better and doesn't have to do with real estate because I was doing like stock market day trading and different things like that before real estate when I was 16 to 18 and that helped me with entrepreneurship and mindset in general and that's helping me create my success with this just by even wanting to continuously learn in the first place.
What I see as amazing, Justin, is the position your dad's put you into with opportunity and learning and knowledge. Um, you know quite a bit, and you've been very, very successful. You're going as you've already done so. You're going to be many more investors that are new with less experience. They'll be somewhat seasoned with less experience. And
Yeah.
you, at a young age, will be instructing, you will be teaching, you will be leading by example. Are you ready for that next step of development as far as when you become a mentor, when you become a leader by example? Are you aware that this is going to be part of your next step?
100%. I'm very aware that's the next step majorly to help more people at a mass level to achieve their dreams.
Yeah, and I keep saying this. I mentioned this to your dad when I met you guys in Florida. Um, I just really envy both of you. I envy you, Justin, from the standpoint of having your dad in your life that you could work with and share things with and develop a great relationship that can lead into, more of a social stuff. But John, I just envy you that you've, got a great son who you're very, very proud of and with all the hard work that you've done to raise him right, that, we make mistakes as, I don't have any kids of my own, but I don't doubt there's a parent out there that won't admit they made a mistake along the way somewhere. But he's become a fine young man. That's just a testimony to what you've done as a father. And
I
I,
grew
I
up
have,
like you,
excuse
like
me.
without. I grew up like you, brother, with my dad out of state almost all my life, and
Yeah.
so I know the feeling, and that's why I've went the extra mile on the other end with my kids and spending time with them, and my nephew Julius right here as well.
How are you, Julius?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. Well, he sounds like he's 23.
Yeah, he's a
Nah,
quarterback, and he's been making calls today. I think he was talking to a multifamily out of state.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And,
I'm sub two.
yep.
Dude, I'm sub
That's
two.
fantastic. So obviously you guys have sat down with Pace a couple times. Um, you know, do you get have you got to see him much? What is your interaction? Does he provide guidance in some regard, or does he just watch what you guys are doing? How does that establish for you guys? Because you become very successful as a pair, and obviously when you get to the level that you guys are at, you get to get the visibility, which allows you to get the attention of people like Pace. Um, I guess you're enjoying getting to know him personally now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's been a major blessing, and he's been a true empowerer and elevator of our business and advisor. And it hasn't been like a whole lot from the beginning. It's just over when we joined in November 2022, We became leaders in November 2023 with Gabriella Diku, who happens to be here as well. But anyways, and that happened because we helped a lot of people, and she knew joining forces with us that we would be a much stronger community and our meetings would grow and everything else. But it was about over a year ago when Justin was on a Zoom with Pace, and he's like, Justin, Pickell, and then Pace is like, Pickle. No, he's like, Pickell. It's Pickle. So he kept saying Pickle. And then when we were at the Golden Ticket, and I'm wearing my sub 2 hat and sub 2 shirt, and he's like, why don't you guys get a pickle like up there and like start, because he knew, and what Cody Sanchez and a few people talked about at Squad Up Summit, the old school way was it's all in who you know. Now it's all in who knows you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was that. And then we kind of came up with the In a Pickle and WeBuyHousesAnywhere.com, and just basically want to continue to enrich others because we know that's the clear path to enrich yourself and overall true soul satisfaction.
Now, tell me a little bit about what you guys have done. You're now accountability leaders for the state of Michigan with Sub 2. Uh, do you have a meetup? You guys are also, are you hosting like a podcast of your own yet?
No,
We're not. We're getting closer, and we're definitely have it on the agenda for sure.
Well, when you get that going, brother, let's promote that to my group of 4,500 and let everybody know exactly who you are all around the country,
sure.
and just give you the visibility that you've earned and deserve. Paul Hernandez, you are on with John and Justin Pickell. What's your question?
Hey, JJ, it's good to see you. It's been a long time.
Been a minute.
The Pickle Boys. Hey, thank you for being on. I'd like to know how you're marketing for all these leads. What's most successful for you?
They're all successful. I can't really say one's the most. They're all pretty much evenly successful. It just comes down to where you put your focus, you're going to get results.
Share a couple examples for everybody.
So I think the reason why I believe they're all good, because I'd done all of them myself. But the reason I began to do more deals is I got other people to do it who need to make money. So once I showed them, they could put their focus towards it and we can do more deals. So I was just doing the same thing with less deals myself. And then when more people do it and have focus towards one thing, you can do more deals. I'm doing the same thing as you're doing.
Justin, let me jump in there for a second. I know that Pace always talked about shiny object syndrome and getting ourselves in every 10 different directions. There's many different ways to gather leads, I'm sure, probably more than I'm aware of. But if you had to pick three in answer to Paul's question, are there maybe three that you find to be, what works for one doesn't work for another, but are there three that have worked for you in particular that have been a little bit more successful?
I think, it's pretty much the connector with other wholesalers if you have the buyers, and then the direct agent are the two fastest ways to get a deal, in my opinion. You'll get a deal in like 1 to 3 months, and pretty much really 1 month if you actually do it every day, pretty much, for sure. And then for the turnaround time on a direct to seller, it's like 2 to 6 months. So it just kind of depends if you want to do the cold calling, paid marketing versus free marketing. So you have to weigh out free versus paid, and then how much time do you have in a day? If I have less time in a day, I'm going to call other wholesalers who already did the cold calling and negotiating, and I might have a couple back pocket buyers only in this city, or I know someone who has all the buyers.
Okay. And it sounds to me like with direct to wholesale, there's a little bit more of building a relationship with other wholesalers. From a novice standpoint, this is not my bread and butter. It sounds like direct to agent might be a great way to start in building relationships with agents.
Yes, that's a great way.
Okay, Paul, did that answer your question?
Oh, well, I guess I forgot about what main focus was, direct to agent.
Direct to seller,
I haven't
direct to
done
wholesaler.
that.
Direct to
They're
agent,
all,
direct to seller, direct to wholesaler. I'm assuming you're more of a direct to seller guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
you're
direct to
asking us
agent,
what our focus is. All of them are our main focus.
yeah, I'm mainly a direct to seller guy, but for our business, we do all direct to seller. Obviously, you already pretty much have that down pat. I also did drop a link to a paper lead company with my promoter link. I do get a 10% credit on any leads you guys buy. I would start small, have like a $500 to $1,000 budget, and you could build a serious business off this company. And
That'll
overall,
be the best direct to seller lead source. If you have a paid budget, for sure. You'll
yeah,
close a
so
deal. Like 1 out of 10 leads, you should be able to close a deal if you actually know how to pitch cash offers, novation, sub two, seller finance, and know how to follow up and call fast.
I love that.
right when they come in, you got to call them and like immediately. You get a text message, and I call them immediately. I heard this so many times. They say, I can't believe you called right away. Like I wasn't expecting to get a call this quick, but like you got to understand, they could fill something else out 30 minutes later, and some other wholesaler gets it. But as for
Found
direct
it
to
at
wholesale,
3 a.m. before.
yeah, we've got a video from 2 weeks ago on a 11-minute call at 3 a.m. because we happen to be up after the gym and going over like work and like, yeah. But anyways, direct to wholesaler, Paul, and everyone else is a free method. You don't have to invest money. You have to invest time, and you have to build the relationships. So if you were bringing us a deal and you got a wholesaler to JV with you at 50/50 and you were getting paid 20%, and that wholesaler is doing 3 deals a month that are making between 6 and 10,000 a month, and if you had 5 of those guys, that's some serious revenue. Then it becomes a passive income. It's like you don't have to worry about the budget. You don't have to worry about. You just have other people. You know the saying of 1% of 100 people or 1,000 people in comparison to 100% of ourselves is there's no comparison. So
There you go.
you know,
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome.
Paul, thanks for joining us,
I guess
Paul.
it's about perspective.
We'll
Yeah.
reach out anytime, brother. You got our number, Facebook, email, phone number.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out your WeBuyHousesAllOver.com.
We buy houses
You're-
anywhere.com. I like that though. I might have to pick that up on GoDaddy real quick. So I'll leave it to you, bro. Jump on GoDaddy and see if it's there.
And you're all over YouTube also, right?
No, we're about to be. Justin's about starting his YouTube channel. He's just building up enough to be able to already have enough to post for months on months.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, and he was definitely right about the pickle on the hat. Yeah, you gotta go with that.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That would be good.
All right, Paul. Hey, Paul, we're going to move on to the next person, brother.
Appreciate you, Paul.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Paul.
Take action.
We have Mr. Troy Caudell. You are on with John and Justin Pickell. What's your question, Troy?
Yeah, my question just relates to all the regulations that are coming in from all these states against wholesaling.
Yeah.
How are you combating those? I'll say the main one I keep seeing and keep hearing is strictly double close.
Yeah. So double close is definitely one way. If you can potentially, there is another way where I haven't utilized it, but a good friend of mine's been using it, where pretty much if you can get the seller or realtor to allow you to sign an addendum where your buyer is going to be the buyer and you're just signing an addendum that you're giving him the contract. But it's not an assignment, you're just signing an addendum. That's this LLC taking over now. And then you just sign a JV agreement with your buyer and they pay you an invoice for the dollars that you agreed upon. So if you actually have a good buyer, you trust them, and they don't care how much money you're making, they should pay you.
Because
Yeah.
one of the other things I heard was just finding a investor friendly agent and wholesaling through them.
Yeah,
Because
that works too.
I say because they can bring you the properties that they can't put on the MLS and
As long
wholesale through you.
Find someone who's cheap enough and create that relationship. But like, if you're doing a lot of transactions and you got to pay them like percentages of the deal and different things, I don't think it's gonna work. It's got to be like a flat fee, a few $100, not really more than 1,000 in my opinion.
Small percentage then, or
Very
just a flat
small,
fee.
5 or 10%, like 500 to
No,
1,000.
that'd be too much.
Yeah,
They take too much meat off the bone.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Troy, did that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. You're welcome, my friend. Good to see you again. Got a young man on. Mr. Justin Kremer, you are on with the Pickell brothers.
Hey guys, JJ, John, Justin, thank you guys for doing this. This is amazing. So this may have already been asked. I was actually on a phone call because I work on Saturdays, just like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Got to keep hustling, right? So I'm curious what your pitch is to your agents, right? Because we all know that, obviously you build relationships, but outright saying you're a wholesaler to an agent is probably a quick way for the agent to just be like, no, right? So I'm
Yeah.
curious what your pitch is to your agents.
My pitch is that I'm buying 10 to 20 deals a month in that market, and they can be a dual agent and for cash deals. But for sub two deals, I'm unrepresented. I don't want to really deal with buyer's agent stuff. And then since the seller pays that, I'm good with that. And pretty much it comes down to letting them know who you are, knowing you actually do deals, and or letting you know you have partners who do deals, and that just leveraging that aspect of things, and pretty much sending them a buy box and really coming up with like a follow-up campaign with these people and like knowing personal things about them and just being relatable with them is the key thing.
I got you. I guess maybe a better question to ask is when they find out you're assigning or wholesaling the property, like what are you, because I like being like fully transparent with the agents that I have relationships with. I just straight up tell them like, listen, I'm going to be assigning this to my partner who does the fixing and flipping, just so you know, right?
Yeah.
And usually they're cool with that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously there are some agents like, oh no, we don't do assignments. In those situations we'll double close. But to double close, I mean, what's the average? 12% and 2 points to double close? It's going to cost you, it's going to cost like I'm in Los Angeles, if I have to double close on an $800,000 property, like not only am I'll have 80% taken care of with the hard money lender, but then I got to come with 20%. So I got to have a private money lender. I got to have my hard money lender, and then it's going to cost me 12% and 2 points,
Why would you need to do all that?
Where's
for
the
double
12?
closing to double close.
Just 1% usually on average. Abraham charges like 0.75.
I'm just saying like nationwide, like if you go to a hard money lender to do a double close, like the average I think is probably like
For sure, I would never use a hard money lender for that.
1%. Abraham does it for 0.75, and there's a bunch of other people that do it for 0.75 to 1%.
0.75, and then they'll fund 100% of it, or
Yeah, 100% of a double close.
wow, I need to go look him up for double closing.
Yeah, there's a lot more than that. Justin could probably
Yeah,
tell.
so right now I'm
Yeah.
paying 10% and 1 point, but that's because I thought I got
Oh,
lucky.
You got a hard money lender who saw somebody who just, when they see that they saw you were getting major meat, they probably wanted a piece. Like, hey, I'm putting up $1 million, bro. You're making 20%. You do 10.
Yeah, sure.
If you
No,
can.
that makes sense. And if your agent, so like your agent sees that you're wholesaling it, or are you just telling them straight up, like up front?
Pretty much, if it's not in the contract and it's the realtor board of contracts that they want to use, I just let them know, see if they resist. If they're good with it, we're good. If they resist, try to fight them a little bit, let them know we're still reputable. And if that doesn't work, we just got to double close or potentially just pass on the deal.
Gotcha. Love
I
it.
like to say we're part of a nationwide investment group, which is true. That's what I always like to do, is use truth and then use it with power, and then it comes through, I believe.
Yeah, like if an agent tells you it's illegal, or like sub two is illegal, I've just been telling them go to the Fannie and Freddie website. It's literally listed there on the Fannie and Freddie website.
Yeah.
And as a legitimate means of acquiring real estate. So I think, oh, there was one thing I heard Jerry Norton talking about installment sales too as a way to get around the wholesale legislation that's coming down potentially. I'm not fully aware what that whole process looks like, but look up installment sales. I think that's another strategy.
Okay, cool. Definitely will look into that.
Mhm.
I'm not sure exactly what the wording means, but I'm sure we might know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's essentially a way to get on title so that you have more than just equitable interest. You actually have legal right to sell that property.
Oh, I got you. So they're just pretty much signing you like kind of like a percentage over the ownership, kind of like
Exactly. I think it's
just
like
like an LLC or and then create an operating agreement or something like that. And then since I'm like 1% owner, maybe somehow.
it's not like there's not you don't have to get your LLCs involved like that in that way. You're essentially I think it's like $1,000. You're doing like essentially like an installment purchase for like a thousand
Yeah,
bucks, right?
no,
And you get put on title, it's drawn up in the contract. You're now like deed stays in their name, right? Until the full amount is paid off, but you get on title. So
yeah.
your name's
So,
on title. Now you can go sell it to your buyer.
no, I think that's just a land contract, executory contract,
Essentially, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
contract for deed. You're
Yeah.
actually taking somewhat of an ownership
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there without having the deed, but
Yeah,
You still
because
have to pay closing costs for that.
yeah,
well, you do have to do that for double close anyway, so.
yeah, you have to do that. Exactly. Exactly.
So it's a definite way around it, but,
I think my idea was a little better for paying none. Have them quick claim deed you the property, pay like $100, and then
Yeah.
do an operating agreement, and then wholesale the house.
But yeah, but if there's an agent involved, I don't know how.
That's all too difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, right, right,
It's
right.
never gonna actually happen.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. But that's what it all comes down. Although the wholesale, like what South Carolina is doing, is just so unbelievable. Like, so they're what they're doing is they're saying you have to be licensed, but then when you get licensed, NAR is saying you can't wholesale,
Hmm.
which is ridiculous. Like, essentially, they've figured out a way to basically make it illegal without making it illegal. Does that make sense? Like, they're telling you you have to go get a license, you have to be a licensed real estate agent, but then when you get your license, the NAR is telling you you're not allowed to wholesale in that state, right?
South
It's
Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina.
it's
And so
making
it's
you
When is that actually active? Because I'm doing deals in South Carolina right now.
right. So it hasn't passed the state legislation yet, but they're trying to push it through.
Yeah, they got a couple things in California too that are about to go through.
Yeah.
So
But it all comes down to anything you do where you're not on title, they're trying to say that is all sort of all encompasses wholesaling. Anything where you're trying to sell the property where your name's not on title or your company's name is not on title, that's wholesaling, which is crazy. But
It's an interesting thing. I heard there was some lawsuits about people just getting big assignment fees after the state went illegal.
yeah, I know. It's just
Different things
crazy.
about it. I don't think it's actually going to pan out to take over the whole entire market.
I think I hope you're right. I think well, yeah, I hope you're right. But
Justin, did we answer your question there?
yeah, I was
Justin?
just gonna say thank you guys. Yeah, you totally answered my question.
All right, but we are going to take one last question, then we're going to wrap up. Mr. Aaron Jones, you are on with John and Justin Pickell. What is your question?
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being on here. I do have a question in regards to like doing any type of AI for, I guess, lead generation or also doing texting. And the reason I ask is because I am not a big proponent of doing cold calling. And I keep hearing, well, you can use these different AI programs, but I'm not a big proponent of that either. So have you guys used anything to that nature, or has anything come up within that nature?
Yeah. I currently don't use any AI in my business. I do use automation, like CRM automation with like Go High Level and things like that. But it's just kind of, I don't have any automatic response of like ChatGPT. It's
Perfect.
really just my choice of wording on cold outreach and just trying to grab their attention. That's all. Get them to respond, and then once they respond, it notifies me to respond to them. That's all.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hopefully that's helpful. Are you using a CRM right now?
Yeah, I am using one. It's a free one. I might go ahead and just invest in a whole package because I do like it for the follow-up and being able to keep a record of everyone who was contacted. So that's fantastic. That's been helping out. But yes, to answer your question, long way around, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, reach out to me. Maybe I can help you find the right one to pick out.
I would appreciate. Can I have your phone number?
Yeah, it's
Oh, I see
in the
John's
chat.
number there. Okay.
Yeah, the John's number, that's
Cool.
actually my number. But
All
that's
right.
cool. Yep.
Thank you very much again, gentlemen.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Appreciate you.
Aaron, thanks for joining us again. Hey, so guys, I want to thank you guys for being on. You guys have been great. I got two last questions for you before we roll around. But I just really want to thank you for coming on, sharing your time. I know how busy you are, letting my group or my YouTube channel know your story, know who you are, and we'll do our best to publicize you around the country. Um, my last two questions is people are either on the call now or if they're watching weeks and months down the line, what's the best way for people to reach out if they have questions, if they want to work with you, if they'd like to have you assist them with Dispo? Uh, if I recall correctly, talking to your dad, John, Justin, you have a MySpace page, right? Is that what it is?
No, you do
We've heard
though.
of it though,
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, is it YouTube? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? You have a website? What's the best way to reach you guys?
Right now, Instagram, Facebook, or our phone number, 248-821-2628 for me.
248-917-5923. And my Instagram is John Pickell1. And lastly, if you have deals to Dispo, of course you can text and reach out, and you can reach out to JJ. We can co-work deals, but we also have an email, dispo@webuyhousesanywhere.com. We have our main website, which is the webuyhousesanywhere.com. That's where you can learn about us and post your deals, and we can buy them, sell them, or Dispo. And we are definitely working on our educational platform and coaching. So that's coming soon to a theater near everyone.
I got one last question for you guys before we wrap up. I've got a networking group. I'm always talking about the importance of networking. You guys are in sub two, Gator also, I think, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So, there's education platforms out there. There's probably over 50, maybe over 100. They've got brand new investors coming in every week. Some of them are experienced, some of them are inexperienced. But they're joining these education platforms that have a Facebook page for their community saying, now use social media, now use Facebook for a business tool. And a lot of people don't. They're just chasing the deal versus chasing the relationship. For you guys, having grown your business and becoming very successful and very visible, what is for the new investor or even the experienced investor who's new to social media, what is the importance of networking to the success of a real estate investor's business?
It's majorly important to really create any deals, I'd say, because every transaction is not done alone. It's always involved with plenty of other people. The title company, us, the wholesaler, or a realtor, the buyer, the seller, transaction coordinator, whoever it is, the lenders, private money, could be regular hard money, DSCR, whatever it could be. There's so many people always involved, and everyone's making money on it.
Well, I think that sounds great. John, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, man, like you hit it on the nose, honestly. Justin got me into these major networking events. It started with Fund Launch last year, then BPCon 2023, and then the ultimate best ever was the Squad Up Summit, where we naturally, organically got recognized major and basically became more visible. We were already pretty super visible by being chosen by Pace to be on his podcast. We each had our own show that's coming up on YouTube soon, and we're super thankful for that. And just the overall sub two community, I would just highly recommend to anybody that everyone in there is treats you like family and really wants to empower you in life and real estate, especially.
Well, again, I think you guys are just great. Justin, you're an example of what every father wants their young man to become. You've got the right direction, you've got the right focus. You're doing all the right things and just keep doing that. John, again, you're a role model in our community as well, as far as not only a businessman, but a father and a family man. And not only bringing your son in, but your nephew and leading by example. Um, and all being about, character and integrity and family. And it's been a pleasure to meet you guys. Hey, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, I want you to please like John and Justin's video. In the comment section, please put your takeaways, what you found valuable, informative. If there's any way where you think I can improve what I'm doing, please put that in the comment section. If you guys are on the call right now, don't go away. We're gonna wrap up shortly after we end the recording. And again, if you want to follow with the guys, it'd be their Instagram, which you mentioned earlier. They have the website for the sellers. And we did mention the phone number earlier, which again is 248-821-2628. That's for both John and Justin, but predominantly Justin. And if you guys have any questions at all, any demands, don't bother John. Send them all to Justin. We'll let Justin take on the onslaught.
Yeah, brother. Super thank you for having us. Our second podcast, it's Pace Morby and JJ Azizian. Our first two podcasts, and we're super thankful for both you guys, and especially you for today, brother.
Thank you. And again, John and Justin, we'll see everybody else out there in the virtual world of Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
For
Look
sure.
forward to it, brother. It's going straight to the moon and then above that.
Stay on the call, guys. Everybody else, thanks for joining us. See you soon.